and welcome to the McKelvey Group Training Module. We will be training in Excel. In this video, we will be learning about how to use the IFERROR function. IFERROR is a logical function that returns a value of your choosing if an error populates from the formula. If the formula causes an error, you can custom choose the error message to say whatever you wish with the IFERROR function. In the example provided in this video, we have different models of cars in the left column of an example table in column C. We also have the miles driven by these cars in the month of February in the second from the left column in column D, and in the month of November in the second from the right column in column E. For this example problem, we will need to find the percentage of miles driven by each of these cars in February in relation to November, which we will then need to place in the last column to the right, which is column F. In order to find this, and to help us identify and label any errors in the data, we will use the IFERROR function. If we were to try to find this percentage with the data that we already have provided to us in the example, we would need to divide the miles driven in February by the miles driven in November. For the first car, the Camaro, we already had this percentage done for us before this video. Because we had all the needed values to find the percentage, it returned with a solution when the formula was done. However, for the following car, the Civic, we can assume that the cell would instead populate with an error. This is because the miles driven for November were 0, and it would therefore return with an error since the percentage for both months can't accurately be found by dividing by 0. In order to instead show a custom value or word instead of an error message, for example, the word incalculable, as well as to find the percentages of miles driven as previously mentioned, we would use the following steps. And even though we are aware that an error will populate the cell, for this example, in order to show you how the IFERROR function works and to check the accuracy of our belief, we will still test and demonstrate this occurrence. So first, step 1, we will click on the first car's percentage cell that we need to find in the test column, or F5. Then we will type into the formula bar or into the cell itself the following formula: equals IFERROR, parentheses, then D5, which is February miles for the Civic, divided by, which is represented by a slash, then E5. Next, we will put a comma, and this is where you get to decide what you would like to put in this cell should there be an error instead of an error message. We will choose the word, as mentioned before, incalculable, in quotation marks. And remember, the quotation marks let Excel know that this is the exact word that we wish to use and therefore are very important. Then we will put a closed parentheses and hit enter on our keyboard to solve. As you can see, the calculation came back with an error, and therefore the error was replaced by our custom selected word, which was, again, incalculable. To see the other car solutions, we can click and drag down. And make sure that it is on percentage. And as you can see, the other cars, like the first, were able to have their mileage percentages calculated, and if they couldn't, they had the word incalculable appear in the test column.